means. One of the reasons why the Supreme Court has always said you can't censor art is because art is polysemous. What does that mean? It means it's open to multiple possible significances. Who is to say what this painting means or what Guernica means? Guernica, by the way, would certainly be censored under the principles that are being advanced here because it's sensationalistic or it deals with contemporary controversy. I mean, what art doesn't deal with contemporary controversy? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense what they're saying. So I think that the majority should really rethink whether it wants to be in the business of censorship. This is not Russia. This is not Azerbaijan. This is not Saudi Arabia. This is not Iran. This is the United States of America. People have a right to paint the painting that they want. If you don't like the painting, go to the next painting. You don't take it down. Especially in the Congress of the United States, where we should be setting an example. Justice Brandeis said, government is the omnipresent teacher to the people of the constitutional values of the whole society. And now we've got one other serious problem I want to mention before I go. Because you see, before they engaged in this act of censorship against this young artist from St. Louis who was obviously upset about what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, and painted this painting, which I think is actually a very interesting, captivating painting that reminds me of Picasso's Guernica and clearly evokes themes from George Orwell's Animal Farm. But before they did that, you didn't have to agree with any particular painting or sculpture or artwork in the Capitol complex, right? We have great champions of freedom and justice and the Republic who are portrayed all over the Capitol complex, like Abraham Lincoln, for example, like Rosa Parks, like Martin Luther King, like Lyndon Johnson, like Sojourner Truth. But you know what? We also have people who are traitors to the country, people who were Confederate conspirators against the United States, like John Breckinridge, a guy who served as a U.S. Senator and as Vice President of the United States and then defected from the Union, took up arms against the United States of America, and was stripped of his, was declared a traitor and stripped of his titles as a former Vice President and a former Senator. Or Jefferson Davis, the President of the Confederacy, who there's a statue of him up. Robert E. Lee, obviously the general for the Confederacy during the Civil War. John C. Calhoun, who also defected from the Union and took up arms against us. And so we had these portraits and statues, these busts of great Americans who stood for freedom and justice and America and the Constitution. And we had people who got themselves into trouble and I think brought disgrace to themselves with what they did, but they were all up together. Now that we're entering into a new era of authoritarian thought control and censorship and political correctness in Congress, how can we have a statue of John Breckinridge up in the Capitol complex? How can we have Jefferson Davis up in the Capitol complex? If this is government speech, now we're going to have to litigate each one of these artistic displays to see whether or not they're actually consistent with the values of the United States Congress and consistent with the values of the U.S. Constitution. Is that where we want to go? I invite my colleagues, I beseech my colleagues, don't take us there. Reverse this act of censorship against this young man. Don't set out to crush his spirit. Don't step on the First Amendment. Show America that we believe in the Constitution. But otherwise, we're going to be engaged in some very interesting discussions about the kinds of artwork that are found all over the Capitol campus. And I just want to salute again Congressman Clay for bringing us together and all of my colleagues who have come forward to stand up for the First Amendment.